place to be, where art, life, and spirituality connects you and me. Science of mind and spirit, the foundation we teach and live. Love, joy, and belonging are the gifts we have to give. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one life, one mind, one infinite, eternal, self-existent. 'Cause we pause, embodying all that we are. We shine like a glorious star. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one. Spirituality is our way of life. We value laughter, truth, and justice. We express artistry as our living practice. So come and join us at SIA. Know you found a community that will love you every day.
Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message.
SIA is the place to be. So buckle up, we're making history. And if you are willing, repeat after me. I am love. I am love. it right. One more time. I am love. I am joy. I am divine. Amen. Yes, you are. Amen. Yes, you are. Now today's message begins.
Namaste and greetings as we continue our conversation. The practice of becoming that which we already are. Today, what are we talking about? Today, we're talking about what does it mean to have an awareness beyond the noise of the world. Now, before we dive in, it is important for me to express that the original title of this message today was Listening Beyond the Noise of the World. That was the Global Vision title. And I changed it to awareness because listening does not necessarily apply to our deaf friends' family. So when we refer to this thing about listening, what are we talking about? We're talking about being aware. And when we speak of silence, because that's part of it, we're speaking of silence as being the doorway to a more authentic life as we practice this thing called becoming. And so what we're actually talking about regarding silence is stillness. How do we become still? How do we reduce the frenetic energy of busyness? Be still. Be still and have clear observation through the deep awareness that we are now practicing. Okay? So are you ready? That's what I did you not just see? That's what I just, anyhow, what about it? Silence. So when we refer to the silence, what are we referring to? We talk about it a lot. Go into the silence. In meditation, go to the silence. But as silence pertains to the deaf community and deaf culture, wait, what? So the silence is another one of those words, another one of those phrases, another one of those terms that we use for linguistic convenience. It is a shorthand way of expressing a concept. So when we use it, we are using it as a term that directs our attention to pure awareness. Points us to the state of being rather than doing. So, are you willing to stay in silence? Meaning, in other words, are you willing to stay in the place of awareness? Are you willing to stay in the place of being while letting go of whatever defenses, defense mechanisms, busyness. Always gotta do, gotta be doing, got a checklist, things to do, my to-do list, my to-done list, my not yet done list, gotta do stuff. Are you willing to let it go? Which means we are surrendering. And I know that many of us do not like that word, surrender. Surrender simply means to let go. Are we willing to let go in order to be in the space of the healing experience as we embody the truth? Are we willing? Because this week we are going to have a deep and soulful conversation as we learn how to, quote unquote, listen, become aware beyond the external busyness of doing. So pause for a second and breathe. Silence is less about actual sound and more about awareness. Just as noise is less about sound and more about what distracts us. Silence, stillness, inner listening or awareness, embracing now, consciously experiencing. Breathe that in. Embracing now, having the awareness now, consciously experiencing now. See, oftentimes we are so busy doing stuff that we don't pause long enough in stillness to actually be aware of what we're thinking or what we're feeling. Have you ever been or witnessed someone who was so busy moving and doing stuff that they're knocking things over, they're getting things done in a half-assed manner because they're not focused. They're not be still, be present, be aware, consciously experience the right here and right now. So many people are so busy now. They are so busy now. They are in a blur and okay. So, are you mindful or mindful? Do you know the difference? Are you able to discern the difference between having a mind that is full and being mindful? If you recall from previously, we were talking about this idea of how being wrapped up in the matrix, the busyness of stuff, we can avoid the meaningful moments. Well, when we're talking about mindful, it's now accessing the meaningful moments. And we access them through our mindfulness, through our awareness. A lot of us don't want to access the right here and right now. We've either been programmed to be in the that then or the not yet when. We're backwards focused. Nostalgia. Do you remember when gas was only 15 cents a gallon? Oh, those were the good old days. You mean when women couldn't get a credit card without their husband's signature? Those were the good old days for you, maybe, not for them or them. Black people couldn't vote. And wait, good old days for, yes, but my privilege allowed me. So they're good old days for me. Oh, okay. And then there's the, oh, but what if our flight is canceled tomorrow? Or what if we lose our luggage tomorrow and what if the hotel reservation, you know what? You haven't even left your house yet. And you're already in Taiwan with lost luggage and a missing hotel reservation. You're already sleeping on the street. You're still standing in your living room though. So many of us are addicted to the future and the past that we can't access the meaningful moments of right here and right now. Have you ever sat in meditation and been like her? As soon as there's that distraction, there it is. There it is. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Distraction. Did I lock the front door? Breathe. Focus. How long have we been meditating? They said 15 minutes. Surely it's only been 30 seconds. Breathe. Focus. Ooh, what's for dinner? Focus. Am I focused? I mean, I know my butt cheek is numb, but focus. Wow. She's really having a hard time focusing. She's having a very challenging time accessing the meaningfulness of the moment right now because of the length of addiction to distraction. Did you know that in the certain Buddhist schools of study, there is a thing called the kyosaku, the stick that is typically made of oak, that is used to thwack the trainees on their shoulders in order to bring them back into awareness of the right here and right now. So if their attention wanders, thwack. If they begin to doze, thwack. So they are hit with a stick to encourage alertness and awareness, to snap them back to the right here and right now, to offer physical relief. For example, her butt cheek was going numb. So I'm focused on my knees, thwack. Oh, what are knees? All I know is my shoulder right now. It relieves a certain focus on pain. And it affords the person mental focus and clarity, and it provides correction if the posture or something shifts. I don't want to get hit with a stick. So how can I incorporate this level of awareness in my life without the need of the kyosaku? How do I invite greater moments of mindfulness without the need to be hit with a stick? Even if I'm the one hitting myself with a stick. So whack, I need to focus right now. No. Simple awareness. Wow, my mind is, I'm worrying. Why am I? And realign in the moment. That's our invitation. Because in the lives that we live, we have been trained so much to be distracted. Distractions of all types are forever blowing up around our lives and in our minds and in our bodies consistently. People are distracted while driving, distracted during meetings, distracted in school, distracted squirrel. It's one of Tracy and I's favorite moments from the movie Up, when the squirrel, it's an inside joke at this point, but it's that he was easily distracted. How easily distracted are you? Do you know what kinds of distractions? Because sometimes we want the distraction. Sometimes the distraction is a life-affirming thing. Sometimes. Are we able to discern the difference between a life-affirming distraction and a non-life-affirming distraction? Do we know the difference? To be distracted once in a while is normal when something sudden draws our attention and focus away. However, many of us live in a constant state of distraction. So many things easily distract us, and many of us are not aware of this. We have no idea that this is what's happening, let alone that this state of being constantly distracted is actually draining us of vital energy that we could be using more effectively in other areas and in other ways of our lives. Have you ever just all of a sudden felt like, oh man, I could so use a nap? Is it because up until that point, you've been drained by the distractions? Because energy is leaking because of the distractions, because of the busyness? Are we able to be present enough to listen to what our body is telling us regarding fatigue, irritation, agitation? Because see, there are various levels and ways of listening, since that's what we're talking about, right? Awareness. But let's be clear, there is a very big difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a passive, automatic function. Listening is a learned skill that involves focus, empathy, cognition, and attention. Have you ever sat one of Tracy's least favorite places of being? When we go to New York, some of the restaurants have dining outside. Tracy is like, nope, I don't want to eat outside. But for the sake of conversation right now, let's just pretend. Let's pretend. Or some of you, I know, like Rainika. Rainika, I'm sure Rainika has eaten outside on a patio. So we'll pick on her right now. Sitting outside, or even inside. Well, we could be inside, Tracy. And you're chit-chatting and talking, but outside there's a jackhammer. But you're having a conversation here. You hear that, but you're listening to the person you're having a conversation with. You hear the outside noise, but you're not listening to it. Because if you shift your attention to it, you're no longer listening to the person, even though you hear them. See the difference? Are we listening to ourselves? Or do we simply, I hear the pain in my shoulder, but I'm not listening to it, therefore I can ignore it? I hear Reverend Ray talking about Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0, but I ain't listening, because if I listen, it means I've got to change. I don't want to change. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Do you know the difference? When you listen to someone, are you being present and hearing and feeling and recognizing, and like, are you really taking it in? Are you listening with both eyes and ears when you can? I mean, granted, if it's on the phone, you can't see body language. But when you have the person in front of you, are you attentive to everything that you see and hear and feel, and are you taking it all in? Or are you bits and pieces, sound bites and things just so you can reply? Because that's not active, compassionate listening. There's a lot of difference between listening and hearing. Once again, do we know the difference? And even if we were to have a conversation and say, well, let's flip this and refer to it in American Sign Language. There is a big difference between hearing and hearing, or listening and hearing. There's a big difference between being here and being here. Yeah, I see what you're signing, but I'm not paying attention. I'm not really taking it in. Listening is being open to take it in, to truly connect and understand, to have greater awareness, because awareness is your superpower. How aware are you at any given moment? The silence, remember what silence was, is our communion with spirit, our awareness of our unity with good. We haven't done a remix in a while, so let's remix. The state of inner silence, conscious awareness, is when we feel our connection, our oneness with and as spirit, and the infinite goodness that comes from this connection. Gives a different feel to this concept of silence now. And if you remember previously, we talked about consciousness, and consciousness and God are identical. Consciousness means awareness. God is infinite awareness. So if awareness is your superpower, then consciousness is your superpower. God is your superpower. It is what you are. You are your own superpower, because that which is superpower itself is incarnating and expressing itself as you. That means superpower isn't simply something you have, it's what you are. Superpower isn't simply something you do, it's what you are being. How are you accessing that? How are you bringing that forward as a beneficial presence? How are you broadcasting it? How are the radio waves of your superpower, your awareness, your consciousness, your divinity? How is it rippling through the airwaves of all that is? How are you tuning in to that awareness so that you are both a broadcasting station and a receiving station? I am receiving, as we have a conversation, I am receiving the waves of energy that you are now communicating to me. I receive it. You are broadcasting. I have tuned in. I have silenced my busyness, and I am listening. With my full self, I am listening. And then at such time, I now broadcast to you, and you listen. yin yang, inhale, exhale, breathing, communicating, life. We are surrounded by all sorts of vibrations. And if we wish to catch any of them distinctly, we must tune in. Are you tuning in to the vibrations of love, peace, fear, war, separation, abundance, lack, not enoughness, prosperity, opulence, trauma, healing, devolution, evolution? What are the vibrations that you are tuning into? And as you're tuning, do you even know the station? Right? Like, have you ever traveled somewhere? Or, I'll use Tracy and I as an example again. When we used to frequent New York City, and as we're driving from Maryland, we know the radio stations we listen to. But as we're going through New Jersey, we're not familiar with the radio stations. So the Baltimore area, the Maryland radio stations are now free, and the other ones are coming. But okay, so what country? I'm not listening to. I know it's Tracy's thing. I'm not listening to it. So we have to retune to the vibrations and the frequencies of New Jersey in order to listen to receive what we now desire to receive. Then as we get closer to New York City, it may change again. We are surrounded by all sorts of vibrations all the time. Some are life affirming, some are not. Do we know which ones we are tuned into, and do we know how to consciously tune into the ones we desire to? Part of doing something is listening. We are listening to the sun, to the stars, to the wind. Listening. Because even the sun, the stars, and the wind are communicating. They are vibrating. They are expressions of the divine. They too are communicating. Are we listening? In what ways are we listening to nature? What is nature revealing to us when we pause and listen? What changes within us when we listen, when we are aware? Turn up your volume if you have an opportunity for the next couple of seconds, and simply be present and listen to the waves. Breathe. Did you listen or did you hear? And if you listened, what came up? What did your awareness bring to you as you listened? The greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people around a specific goal or around specific goals. You have to wake the people up first, then you'll get action. What did Malcolm X mean by this? What is he saying? Because this applies to New Thought as well. There are a great many of us in New Thought who are sleeping. And we are speaking of specific goals and visions and missions and purposes, but we're sleeping. So trying to organize a sleeping people around a world that works for all is pointless. That is a great mistake, or the greatest mistake, as he put it. First, the people must be awakened. They must be attentive and aware and conscious, and then they can act. To what degree are we awake, aware, attentive? One great place is the dojo of traffic. It is a magnificent invention, for it draws out of us that which we are being. The invitation: pause. Practice presence by pausing. Parking. Present awareness, right knowing inspires new growth, right? Pause. Park. Breathe. Because that's the invitation. But what typically happens for many of us is not that. Parking. No, I want to rage. I want to be mad. I want to be frustrated. I want to be angry. I want to, oh, woe is me. I want to sit in the muck and the yuck of, I'm going to be late. I'm going to, lay on the horn. Scream at people who have nothing to do with and cannot move, but yet I am going to scream at them. See, this magnificent thing called traffic gives us an opportunity to discern, what am I going to choose to be? I can't change. The horn isn't magic. The finger isn't magic. My screaming isn't magic. It's not going to make this change. So if I can't change it, am I willing to change myself? And that changing of myself begins with the acceptance of, this is what is. Traffic is not moving at any significant pace. Breathe. Be. I'm going to be late. Yes. Can't change that. Breathe. Be. I'm going to miss my appointment. I can't change that. Breathe. Be. Acceptance is the beginning point of that awareness of being free from the drama and the confusion, and the acceptance gives us the ability to forget about the voice, sing. Forget about your feet, dance. Forget about your life, live. Forget about yourself, be. See, when we are being more aware, it gives us the space to, but my voice, I mean, I'm not the, sing. I got 2 left feet, then dance with 2 left feet. But I don't have feet at all. Doesn't matter. There are a whole bunch of wheelchair dancers who still dance. Has nothing to do with your feet. Has nothing to do with feet at all. Dance. Live, be. However, first, accept. Accept your divinity, accept who and what you are, accept your awareness, accept. And then step into greater listening, greater awareness. Breathe. The only way for photons to know when they're being observed is if they are conscious beings. In the quantum world, each of the parts is aware of the whole. A single photon is aware of the quantum state of the entire universe instantaneously, always. It has this quality because it is part of the universal consciousness in which we are also participants. Whoo, as Jed Clampett would say, whoo, doggy. To what degree are we? If a single photon can be aware, then so can we, considering it is part of the universal consciousness, and so are we. We are also participants. But are we actively participating? Are we consciously participating? And what does it mean for us to do so? Well, one, am I listening to you when you communicate with me? That is a demonstration of how a single photon is aware. It is listening. Am I listening? When I am in traffic, am I listening? Am I listening to my body and what my body is telling me? Or am I giving my attention more to my frustrations and anxiety? What am I listening to? Am I listening to what my pet is communicating to me? Am I listening to what my garden is communicating to me? Am I listening? Am I paying attention? And in what way am I paying attention? That's a great starting point. Even when watching television, it is easy to become enamored with and hypnotized by whatever is on the screen. Oh, I love that kind of kibble. It's delicious. I just cat. That's a cat. It's a cat. I don't like frisbee. Thank you. Yes, please. Yes, throw it. Yes. Are we easily distracted like that? Or are we attentive, even when listening, consciously aware of what we are watching on television or in a movie theater or wherever we are? Because if a photon can be consciously aware of the entirety of, then so can we, no matter where we go. If we are surrounded by vibrations all the time in all kinds of ways, then how do we practice science of mind and spirit while watching television? When Tracy and I sit down to watch the next episode of FBI or Tracker or whatever we are watching, how does science of mind and spirit show up as our focused attention? As the characters are communicating and the action is happening, what is it communicating to us? Is this a distraction that is non-life affirming? We watch it, we're done, we go about our business. Or is it having some kind of long-term impact where the metaphysical messages of have made, the storytelling elements of have made a difference in our lives? Because if not, then it's simply a distraction that is more non-life affirming than life affirming. And yes, even if it's for entertainment purposes only, that's cool, but the entertainment should benefit our lives versus simply being a drug of choice that distracts us. We can be entertained, but we can also be improved through the entertainment. Keep your mind on reality. Merge your mind with reality, and you will experience reality. You will live in a world without problems. The world may appear to have problems to others, but not to you. You will see things differently from a higher point of view. Eric Butterworth said something similarly. I don't see the world as it is, I see it as I am. But how do we apply this to real world issues? How do we look at this as real world issues where Robert is saying, you will live in a world without problems, and the world may appear to have problems to others, but not to you? Is this not a problem? Is he inviting us to bypass? I say no. And we can go even further. Problems. Further. Problems. Further. Did you know that the Nazis, Hitler and them, got the idea for what they were doing in Germany by watching how the United States of America was segregating and treating African Americans? Anyone that was non-white? Now, they took it even further because we had clear distinction, black, white, Asian. They're like, well, Jews, we're the same color, so we've got to make it different. And so they went a whole different step with their level of hatred and fear. But our point here is, how do we look at this and not say that it's not real or that it has no impact? That's not what we're saying. We're saying we are able to see what it is, not from this frame of reference, but this frame of reference. Because the moment we can see it from here, we are now able to see all of the possible permutations of it and then effectively make change. So we are not affected by this. Once again, we can use the example of a doctor in an operating room. A child comes in after having been shot in school. If the doctor and the nursing staff and all of the anesthesiologists, if all of them are so grief-stricken and they break into tears, what's going to happen to the child on the table? So they recognize the reality of the situation, they recognize the reality of the seriousness, and they also recognize the reality of what it takes to treat them. Do we recognize the reality of what it takes to treat racism, anti-Semitism, war, genocide? Do we understand it? It doesn't even if we understand it. Are we willing to even have a conversation about what that is and what that means? Or are we so comfortable with the distraction called spiritual bypass? Are we so comfortable with the distraction called metaphysical malpractice? Are we comfortable with the distraction that says suffering will only stop when God answers our prayers? Because as is said, suffering will not stop until we awaken to the truth of our own being. Suffering will only stop when we awaken to the truth of our own being, whatever the suffering is. Pain happens. Funny bone, that hurts. Pain is going to happen because we've got nerves and we've got someone died. I feel the grief, pain, mourning. It's going to happen. Suffering, when we awaken to the truth of our being, individually and collectively, is when and how suffering will end. Breathe. Out of the silence of our own soul comes a direct revelation of our oneness with God. Remix. So take this in for a moment. Out of the silence of our own soul comes a direct revelation of our oneness with God. Out of the awareness of our own soul of itself as that which God is comes a direct revelation of our oneness with and as God. When we awaken to the truth of our being, that our soul is what God is, that what God is, we must also be, because God is infinite oneness, then that awareness changes things. It has no choice but to change things. But we have to be willing to actively embody and engage the science of mind and spirit 4.0 is to practice conscious awareness as often as possible, with the intention of one day reaching 100%. But it's not about that. It's simply being attentive right here, right now, being attentive right here, right now. But I'm only at 50%. So what? Be there right now. 2 years ago, it was 5%. Just be here right now. Okay, now it's 51. Just be here right now. Now it's 51.2. Just be here right now. What exercises can help build these muscles? What can we do to increase our personal awareness about who we are? What motivates us? What scares us? What distracts us? What we avoid and what we desire? We cannot truly live the science of mind and spirit 4.0 without this self-awareness as well. We are invited to study, to integrate, and apply the teachings in all areas of our lives, all day, every day. That is the goal. And that's why we have this as our kind of reminder, our teaching symbol to study, to integrate, to apply. This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, I invite you to repeat it with me the second time. Today, I recognize the truth that reveals itself within my inner attention, focus, and awareness. Together. Today, I recognize the truth that reveals itself within my inner attention, focus, and awareness. Breathe. And this week for the Thursday night study group or for your own personal journal exploration, how would I describe my default setting of awareness? How easily distracted am I? How would I describe my default setting of listening? What does it mean for me to enter into the silence? How attuned would I say that I am? Attuned to myself, to those closest to me, to my surroundings, to nature, etc. The quote by Robert Adams about keeping my mind on reality is an invitation for me to engage in what as a practice? How do I do what he is suggesting? And lastly, what does sing, dance, live, be look like in my daily life. And breathe. As we enter into that, oh no, I'm getting ready to pray and we ain't even get, Ray, you still got more. There's still more of the practice. Find someone and describe your meditation process. What do you do? What are your challenges in meditation? What is your method and the reasons for engaging in that specific method and manner? And what are the benefits that you reap from it? And now we enter into that space that I was so eager and ready to jump into, prayer. The state of simply being aware, receptive, open at the top and open at the bottom, to imagination, to creativity, to love, power, presence. So being present right here and right now in this breath, we allow our mind, heart, and soul to listen, to feel, to be attentive, to be awake, to be aware. We allow this awareness to expand our consciousness so that we may accept and be receptive to more of the truth of who and what we are. The more awake we are to the truth of who and what we are, the more we are then able to be a beneficial presence to the world. The more we are able to access our talents and offer them to the world. The transformation, the evolution, the more we are able to participate in being the change that creates a world that works for all. Because the more we think we are this label or this other thing rather than the truth of our being, the more that label will distract us, whereas the truth of our being sets us free. So we allow this awareness, this new level of attention, attentiveness, receptivity to stretch us, to empower us, and to continue to invite us into greater and greater ways of expressing. And we breathe because we know that the law already receives and the law already acts upon our mental equivalents. And so we continue to do the work. We study, we integrate, we apply, and we change as a result. And as we change, because we are broadcasting stations, the entire quantum field changes as well. We begin to offset the collective consciousness that is warmongering. We offset it, and now it is centered and rooted in peace and peacefulness. And war and genocide and all of the non-life affirming ways that we have been for eons fades into obscurity, fades into extinction, fades into, it is now simply relegated to the history books of there was a time when, but now there is such a time as this that we set the new course and we stay the path. The law says yes, it receives, it listens, and it acts. And so do we. And so it is. Breathe. Much love, much joy, much appreciation. Be well, be blessed, and see you soon.
Today's message is complete, something to believe, seed of truth that we can practice if we choose to receive. As we take the science of mind and spirit for pour it over to every corner of the world where the healing needs to go. We know it's not a secret, kept locked behind a door. It's the wisdom that we're living, and love is what we share it for. Now step into the world, be a healing, hopeful beacon. You're walking the path and offering to all who may be seeking. Know it, practice it, live it every day. That's how we heal the consciousness. We wash the ignorance away. Time to heal the world and make the vision come true. No more waiting for someone else to do what we can do. With gratitude, love, and a joy so deep, we have principles, practices, and promises we're all going to keep. Take the teaching out into the busy street, to every stranger and every soul you meet. Dedication to liberation is the key we hold. A story of freedom that's waiting to be told. Right where you are is holy ground. Feel into your rhythm and the sacred sound. You're an incarnation of the divine. You're holy, powerful, and good. And you are called to be that in the world and do what only you could. Know it, practice it, live it every day. That's how we heal the consciousness. We wash the ignorance away. Time to heal the world and make the vision come true. No more waiting for someone else to do what we can do. With gratitude, love, and a joy so deep, we have principles, practices, and promises we're all going to keep. Be the change that you want to see. Unlock the chains and set all life free. From the heart of the city to the jungles and open plains, breaking the cycles of oppression and its heavy chains. It's a revolution of the body, the mind, and the soul. Mending, making, and manifesting the broken parts now finally whole. Know it, practice it, live it every day. That's how we heal the consciousness. We wash the ignorance away. Time to heal the world and make the vision come true. No more waiting for someone else to do what we can do. With gratitude, love, and a joy so deep, we have principles, practices, and promises we're all gonna keep. Right where you are sacred. Right where you are, shining so bright. Right where you are, the divine is expressing. Right where you are, life. So live it every day. Make the vision now come sing. In divine is not far off watching. It is incarnating itself as you. Have an amazing week and know that you are loved.